Most people don't fall into credit card debt because they're reckless. They fall into it because of everyday decisions that feel totally normal, until they're not. In this video, I want to expose the 5 most common credit card debt traps, the ones that don't really look like traps until you're thousands of dollars deep. I'll show you what they are, why they happen, and most importantly, tips on how to avoid them before they can cost you your peace of mind or your paycheck. Now, in no particular order, trap number 1, living beyond your means. Now, what does this mean? It means that you're spending more than you earn, and often without even realizing it. This isn't always about luxury or big purchases. Sometimes it's just not seeing where the rest of your money is going. Here's an example. You're responsible, so you budget for the essentials: rent, car payments, utilities, groceries, and maybe even your phone bill. And that all fits within your income. So you assume that you're good, but you don't track the other stuff, like daily coffees, takeout, streaming services, weekend plans, or any random Target run. It doesn't feel like a lot, but by the end of the month, your account is drained, and the gap, well, it gets covered with credit. And why does this happen? Well, it happens because it feels like you're being responsible. After all, you paid all your bills, so you're good. But if you're not tracking everything, it's easy to overspend on the small stuff. And that small stuff, it adds up fast. Now, how can you avoid this? Well, you need to build a complete budget. Not just budget for your bills. You have to include every dollar, your entertainment, your dining out, your shopping, your subscriptions. Use a spending tracker app if it helps, or a spreadsheet to keep your variable expenses visible. And do a weekly money checking to catch overspending early instead of getting surprised at the end of the month. Now, trap number 2. Trap number 2 is relying on credit for everyday expenses. And what does this mean? It means that you're using your credit card not just for emergencies or big purchases, but you're using it to make it through the week. You're using it on groceries, gas, bills, all going on credit because your paycheck is already stretched thin. Now, for example, you get paid on Friday, and by Sunday, you've gone out to eat, bought a few things that you've been eyeing, and maybe treated yourself a couple of times because, hey, you just got paid. But by Thursday, you're low on cash. And now you're using credit card to buy groceries or fill your gas tank, spending money that you already spent. And why does this happen? It happens because the first half of the pay period makes you feel rich, and the second half, not so much. It's a growing cycle that keeps credit card balances growing. Tips to avoid it. Break your budget into weekly chunks. This would help you pace your spending. Set a first weekend limit, give yourself some fun money, but cap it. The rest should go towards your bills, saving, and the essentials. And try using a prepaid card or separate debit account for discretionary spending so you don't dip into rent or grocery monies by accident. Now let's move on to trap number 3, which is using credit for emergencies without a safety net. And what does this mean? It means turning to credit cards in a crisis, like a car repair, vet bills, medical emergency, because you don't have a cash backup. Let's say your car breaks down and the repair is $700. Those $700, if you don't have cash backup, they will go on your card. You don't have a choice. But now you're not only just paying for the repair, now you're paying the repair plus interest. So how can you avoid this? Well, the easiest way? Build up an emergency fund. Even if it's just $10 to $20 a week, you can set up an automatic transfer after payday so you don't miss it. But those $10 to $20 will add up. Keep a rainy day category in your budget. Emergencies are guaranteed, so plan for them. Trap number 4. Only making minimum payments. What does this mean? It means that you're just paying the minimum due on your credit card every month, which mostly goes towards interest and not the actual balance. This keeps you stuck in debt longer and paying way more over time. For example, you see that your minimum payment is just $60, and you think, that's not bad, I can handle that. Then you see something you want for $100 and tell yourself, that's only going to bump up my minimum payments like by $5, so it's not a big deal. But a few weeks later, you've done that 3 or 4 times. Now your balance is even higher, Your minimum payment is going up, and the original debt is still there. It's barely touched. And why does this happen? It's because minimum payments create the illusion of being manageable. But in reality, you're not making progress. You're mostly just paying interest and making space to spend more. Now, my tips to avoid this: set a fixed monthly payment goal, not just the minimum. Even if it's just $25 to $50 extra, this would make a difference. Use tools like the avalanche or snowball method to stay focused on paying down the full balance, not just that minimum payment. And try thinking in total cost, not monthly payments. That 100 purchase might cost you $130 or more over time when interest is factored in. Trap number 5, emotional impulse or impulse spending. What does this mean? It means that you're using shopping to cope. Maybe it's for stress relief, maybe it's boredom, or maybe it's a celebration. But you end up with buyer's remorse. And you know what? An even bigger credit card debt balance. Yeah, maybe you had a rough week, so you hit the add to cart for a few treats. It feels good until the statement hits and you can't remember half of the things you bought. Now, what are my tips to avoid it? Apply the 24-hour to 48-hour rule before buying anything on plan. If after 48 hours you don't remember what you wanted to buy, then it wasn't even worth it. Unsubscribe from sales email and turn off shopping notifications. Give yourself a small, fun money budget. And when it's gone, no more spending. We've all fallen into one of these traps at some point. The truth is, these aren't just money problems. They're life problems that show up in your bank account. But here's the good news. Once you know the traps, you can avoid them. And even if you're already in debt, you can get out step by step, dollar by dollar. Remember, you're not behind, you're not bad with money. You just need a plan and the commitment to follow it. You got the awareness now, you got the tools, and most importantly, you got this.